So yeah, guys, thank you all for coming here. This is wonderful. It's good to see love for a game that is getting up there. So, first thing that we want to do is thank a few organizations. First off, Andamiro for their wonderful support and creating such a great game. It's incredible that Pump It Up is still thriving today. In fact, I truly believe post-pandemic, Pump It Up has a much greater following than it did ever. Team Infinity, which is the development studio that we all are representing here. And thank you to everyone on Team Infinity, some of which are in the audience here and others are at home right now, for helping provide input for this panel specifically and helping jog my memory, because, again, it's getting there. MAGFest for letting us host this panel, because we reached out like a freaking month ago, and they were super accommodating. Thank you guys so much for letting this happen. And lastly, SavePoint, which is, yes, it's a company that I co-run, but SavePoint has provided us with, gosh, I guess we could say, the opportunity to play test the game during its inception, which is really incredible. But we're also here at MAGFest in the arcade, and SavePoint funded a lot of Infinity's development, which we'll go over a little more in this panel. Boop, boop, boop.
You can do it. It's okay. I think it's 5 presses. Hey, there we go.
All right.
I don't know why it is 5 presses.
We are, we are collectively Eric Holmaker. So I'm the founder of Team Infinity and SavePoint. I'm the producer for Pump Infinity. I've worked on a bunch of different games for a long time. And I've been doing the MAGFest Arcade since 2008.
I'm Greg. I run the LAN room at this event. I did programming, OS, backend security for Pump Infinity, as well as Prime, Prime 2, XX, and Phoenix. I also helped co-found the MAGFest Arcade, and it's actually since 2004, not 2003.
You can blame me.
But yeah, so been doing it for a while.
Hi, I'm Alan James, also known as Tarunuk. I was the gameplay programmer for Pump It Up Infinity, but I've also worked on many things in my time in the rhythm game scene. There are 2 games straight up at the indie booth that I have contributed to, that are here right now. I was mostly responsible for the Mission Zone, and I make very strange content.
Hi, I'm Vincent Kim, V Kim. My name gets misspelled all the time whenever I'm ordering stuff. Apparently if I take off my pink hat, no one knows who I am. I don't know. So I did a lot of content design. I was first contracted as a step artist for Pump It Up Infinity, and then I just ended up doing a lot more than I was contracted for. So I did some step things and some graphic stuff. I also archive a lot of old Pump It Up media on my channel. And I just want to say, if you play any of my charts credited to V Kim, I'm sorry, please stay away from all of that.
It's also incredibly rare to get this guy out of Atlanta. At least right now, he's here. And Alan came all the way from the UK to be here with us, so. And don't clap for me and Greg, because we're
Yeah, go King Gregory!
We came really far.
yes, 1 hour.
1 whole hour away.
All right. Vincent, would you like to go over what is a Pump It Up?
What is a Pump It Up? So, Pump It Up is a dance game, as we clearly know. But it's both Pump and DDR were actually developed around the same time. Pump was first released to Korean arcades in 1999, and both games just had their own separate audiences and their gameplay styles. DDR being 4-panel and Pump being 5-panel, and out the door, Pump had a very strong focus on freestyle routines. All right.
you're supposed to move your mouth away from the mic to breathe.
Yeah.
Okay, so I realize before you read this text, some of this is opinionated, but what makes Pump special? We feel that it has a very natural dance pad layout.
Some of us feel that it has a very natural dance.
Okay, and some of us like dancing like robots.
That's fair.
And then we've got old school freestyle focuses around dance routines. I heard a not anymore. Yeah, I don't. That's another rant over some soju. So most releases have focused on combo-driven scoring, and you could also say not anymore, but we're going to not go there. Now, Pump has always had, since its first release, it's got a very unique and diverse culture all over the world, and that's something that I haven't truly seen in any other rhythm game to the extent that Pump has. And something that has been carried from producer to producer is that the music and animations in Pump are supposed to tell a story, and that is essentially the heart of the game. Speaking of production, Pump's had an incredible development history. There have been over 30 software releases, and there have been several different development teams over the course of time. Oh boy. Greg, you want to take it?
Okay. Well, what makes Infinity so special compared to every other release? So it was one of the first titles that had a longer lifetime, long-term support. There was a lot of collaboration with the Korean Pump team. Other kind of Western releases didn't really have that. It was the first game to properly support widescreen displays. Older Pump mixes were 4:3. Our release eventually supported 16:9.
It wasn't even just 4:3 though. It was like it was in a widescreen cabinet, but it was still 4:3.
Yeah.
Right.
Like really just stretched garbage. But when we did that for the first time, people hated it. They wanted the stretched garbage back. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
there was a number of years where Korean Pump releases, even on their newest cabinets, didn't really look their best because they were using widescreen cabinets, but the image was designed for a 4:3 screen. So our release also brought back a lot of old content. We tried really hard to kind of get a lot of really good stuff all in one release so players could be really satisfied with everything that was included. We had multiple modes which changed the timing windows and the scoring type so it would better fit whatever play style you wanted to play with. A more like Korean Pump style scoring mode or the more tight kind of Pump It Up Pro or In the Groove style of scoring. We brought a lot of exclusive content that paid respect to older content in Infinity with like special remixes and other things. Bringing on different modes that have a lot of uniqueness, like mission mode.
We had
everything like that.
our mission mode was very wacky.
Which if new modern releases don't really have that anymore. So we tried to kind of make a really good mission mode with lots of cool challenges and fun rewards for people. USB unlock system, Easter eggs, all sorts of fun stuff with that. So just to give a little bit more special attention to things that players, like dedicated players, would really appreciate.
And I did want to touch back on the long-term support thing. For those that have only been playing Pump for the last couple of years, it's like, what do you mean every Pump game has long-term support? No. So before Prime, every Pump release had like a 6-month to 1 year on average, and 1 year was like, oh, like you're getting your money's worth. Average support structure before they released a new mix. Prime was the first Korean release, which Prime was 2 years after Infinity. Infinity we supported officially with Andamiro for 4 years. Prime was 2 years. Prime 2 was 2 years. XX we don't count because of the pandemic, and now we've got Phoenix, which I'm sure you'll see a couple years of support out of that one. And the pro mode, that's interesting because we had this challenge where other Stepmania-based games, so In the Groove and Pump Pro 2, had tighter timing than traditional Korean Pump. So we wanted to be able to offer players the ability to choose either the tighter window or a looser window like Korean Pump games. Does you guys have anything else?
I already talked about how the mission mode is full of garbage.
Yeah, that's what we really want to hear.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
We'll get there.
Oh boy. Okay. So, half the reason we're doing this panel is because we got the four of us in a room together for the first time in ever. Yeah, this is it.
Ever.
Yeah. All the development was done remote. It was done on freaking Skype and Dropbox, and
We had a Skype group. That was where the development meetings happened.
This was 2012, or 2011, 2012.
Have an open mind. But I was at a Beast in the East last year, and I was looking around because Save Point was contracted, and I heard a group of people standing, I guess younger Pump players, probably early 20s, and they were standing by an Infinity setup, and I overheard them say, "Oh, Pump Infinity, what is that? I don't know. I think it's some fan game." Huh. And I was like, oh, no. But truthfully, the game has kind of fallen into obscurity. Unless you're really into Pump It Up, you don't know what this thing is. So, how did it happen?
Gotta talk about In the Groove a little bit.
Yeah, and
This has to be you, Eric. No
I
one
know.
else can take this
I'm
panel.
sorry. So, when we started writing this out, I was like, oh crap, we can't touch on the history of Infinity without touching on the history of Pro, and you can't touch on the history of Pro without talking about the history of ITG. So I'm going to try to keep this very brief. So In the Groove was released in 2004 as an upgrade kit to DDR machines. In 2005, Rockstar Games released In the Groove 2. It was available as both an upgrade kit for DDR machines or a new dedicated cabinet built by Andamiro. In the Groove 2 is an extremely successful release, and it gained attention from Konami.
Put a pin in that. We will not circle back to it.
In the Groove 3 was in development. It was planned to be released around 2006 and 2007, but due to a legal settlement between Konami and Rockstar, the game was canceled, and production of the dedicated cabinets that Andamiro produced ceased. So, after the Rockstar-Konami settlement, the business group behind Rockstar Games continued as a new company called Fun in Motion. And they reached an agreement with Andamiro to produce a new version of Pump It Up. And this new version would cater more toward Western audiences and feature the likeness that made In the Groove as successful as it was. So a lot of the In the Groove team stayed on board for this new project. And some of the features and songs that were planned for In the Groove 3 were put in Pump It Up Pro. And the game performed well enough to warrant a sequel, and development on Pump Pro 2 began in 2009. But there were some disagreements with the creative leads and the business heads at Rockstar in Motion, and a lot of the content contributors split. There were a few people hired to fill the gaps. One's in this room, Jason Bull.
Woo, Jason!
And then we've got Dominic Renzetti and myself, and we were just a few. There were more of us, but to keep things consistent with where this history's going, this is what we're chatting about. So there were some internal issues with Fun in Motion. I could use a beer if I talk more about it, but much of the Pro 2 staff abandoned the game very close to its release window, so the finishing touches and support for the game, it's okay. They were done as a passion project to make sure that the game actually saw a final release, and I am confident that if the small group of us that didn't keep pushing in our spare time, the game wouldn't have happened. Now, Pro 2 sold, if memory serves me correctly, I know factually it was under 30, but I believe 27 kits sold, which, like, think about that. That's insane. 27 kits.
That's bad, by the way.
Yeah, that's very, very horrible. Yeah,
Not
and it's
good.
it's a shame because there were a lot of features that were added to the game that made it so incredibly unique.
I think it looks beautiful. I think it's a wonderful looking theme. It's
Yeah.
a real shame.
And it was the first game to really get a co-op mode. Now, the idea of a co-op mode had existed. The idea had existed since In the Groove 1, at least. So, I do completely credit Kyle Ward and his team for coming up with the idea. And obviously, we can now play teams in Step Maniacs, which is wonderful. But the first Pump It Up game that had any sort of co-op mode was Pro 2. And there are some really fantastic charts. If anyone ever gets a chance to play, there's some really neat charts that were dropped.
And it works so much better on Pump than the 4-panel layout. Like, co-op
Yeah.
works so well.
It feels natural. All right, so I have a few quick stories to tell about Pro 2's development. And Jason, if you wanna shout, okay, good. So this first one, Glenn Maynard is an amazing human being. I guess
Who is Glenn Maynard?
you can answer your own question.
He was one of the main programmers for In the Groove, Step Maniacs,
Stepmania.
et cetera. He did Pro and Pro 2 as well.
Yeah, he's a coding wizard, and his work is, it's aged like a fine wine. That
A lot of it's still in use in various builds of Stepmania that are out there today.
He's a coding wizard, genius.
Yeah,
A very talented person.
yeah, incredible guy too. But this was at I guess it was the AMOA show in Vegas. But we all had our laptops out and we were demoing stuff, and it hit a couple of us to show Chris Stanford and Glenn Maynard what we were working on with OpenITG, just the content we were making, and just gathering ideas. And Glenn did a double take and was like, "How do you have that?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And we're talking ITG2 official files. And he was in disbelief that the game had been decrypted, and
Years after the fact.
years after the fact, it was just like, yes, Glenn, it's been decrypted, and so has Pro 1. 2009.
Like right before Pro 2 was released.
Yeah.
Which is wild, but he lives under a rock, I guess.
So Pro 2 does a really interesting thing. If anyone's ever watched the game boot up, it takes 4 to 5 times as long as any other, so In the Groove 2 or Pro 1. It does some really neat wizardry. Greg, I don't know if you're familiar with what it's doing.
I know what it does.
Can you explain? Because you'll be able to do it a little better.
I mean, there's little things, I think we call them nanomites. I don't know. Anyway, there's little like pieces of code that the game kind of like decrypts while it's loading to get it to work correctly. It's a very interesting way to add, or it's a very interesting security construct that he created, but it took a while, but eventually people figured it out. But he upped the point is he upped the security game significantly after finding out that In the Groove 2 was decrypted. The security for Pro 1 was basically the same as In the Groove and In the Groove 2. So because he didn't know that it wasn't sufficient enough to protect the game's assets. Yeah.
And a little fun fact. All right, I'm watching the time. Pro 2 has a hidden little feature. It has a tool built into it. So if you plug a Pro 1 dongle into Pro 2 and it starts doing its crazy little decrypting on the fly thing, it says Pump It Up Pro 2 is initializing, it'll tell you, hey, there's a dongle here. This is a Pro 1 dongle. Or if you put an In the Groove 1 dongle in it, it'll say, hey, this is an In the Groove 1 dongle. It's really cute. No one's ever going to know that's there, so I just thought I'd share. So lots of content was ported over to Pro 2 from a fan project that was headed by Jason and I called Protocol. Wow. So in 2007, 2008, we created our own fan game using Pro 1 as a base, eventually becoming this project called Protocol, which we thought, it's same concept, but we're going to do it ourselves, screw it. Eventually, when we got hired for Pump It Up Pro 2, we took a look at the assets and we thought about, what would be good in this direct sequel to Pro? And it was actually really shocking. Jason and I had the pleasure of chatting last week, and after he told me, hey, you should really look through that stuff, it was shocking. We had Oh Sexy Vampire and Hardcore Atomic and a bunch of other songs that we just moved straight into Pro 2, and they were part of this fan project before, they were in that game. We had plans to port NX2 and NX8 content over before we heard that Endemir just said, no, don't do that. So some of the stuff that I was digging through, we found some that we had converted assets over, we had translated some Korean and just made it look really cool. I think I have a couple images of that in the next slide. But we went over routine mode, and oh god. Dogs in the house. So, speaking of routine mode, there was an extra special routine chart that our friend Gabe made, where, all right, I'm going to explain the song for a minute. The song was made by our buddy Can Blaster, and Can Blaster has a few different aliases. There's a lot of his music can be found in this era of dance games. But when he offered us the song called Dogs in the House, the lyrics being, let me see all the dogs in the house, gonna do it doggy style. He told us we could use it for free as long as we credit it to not Can Blaster, but Ass Blaster. To which we said no, and then he came back and said, well, how about Can Blaster and in parentheses, Miami style? And we said, okay. So a routine chart was made that mimicked the song's
general vibe.
Essence, where you...
Just go to the next slide. So as you can see, with the placement of the hand on that up right arrow, you have to bend down and hit that, and then hit this roll on the other two arrows, while the other player, the blue player, is doing a drill.
Alan, do you just want to demo this real quick for the audience? We can here.
No.
Vincent, somebody.
Vin-
So, if we're mimicking this, okay. So Vincent is going to be the set of blue arrows.
This is very technical.
Okay? And I'm going to be the set of crap. Okay. So you go down on your hand here, and you start rolling. and then it switches. So there you go. There's your idea. Endemiro Korea was not happy with us. They promptly asked us to remove this routine chart. And remember how I mentioned that toward the end of Pro 2's development, there were only a few people left on staff? Well, no one was really overseeing what we stuck back in these patches. So, you had Revision 7, for example. I don't know specifically, it's been so long, but Revision 7, we'd be like, Dogs in the House, routine's back in. Revision 8, it's gone. Revision 9, but in the final public patch, it was removed once more. So the only way to play it in Pro 2 is with an edit. Part of the deal with Infinity is I looked at Macnom and I was like, we're putting it back in. And he said, no. And then the next day, he messaged me on Skype and said, Eric, about Dogs in the House, I think now it is okay.
Who is Macnom?
Who is Macnom?
Did we even explain that?
Well, I have a photo of Macnom, but I can save that for
There's a slide
bit.
about Macnom.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole Macnom slide.
There's a slide
We'll
with
get
lots of
there.
Macnom
We'll come back
slides.
to that.
So earlier I mentioned that we had this content that was ready to rock in Pro 2. Very Old Couples is a song from NX2 that I believe was licensed until NXA. I wrote a half double for it and looked at it for the first time in 10 years yesterday. It's pretty cute. But yeah, this stuff was ready to go, and it's a shame that it was not able to be crossed over. I'm going to leave it there. So we talked about Protocol for a little bit. Everyone's familiar with VVV, which was the boss song in Pro 1, which is Vertex Cubed. And and we thought it would be cheeky to put Vertex Squared back in Pro under the name VV. Just a cute thing. Thank you for the graphics, Jason. This is just another screenshot of a song that we wound up not using in Pro 2. There were a few tracks that were recycled from In the Groove, and I think at the time it was just like, okay, everyone knows this stuff. There's already a lot of it in Pro 1. Let's focus on other stuff. And looking back on it, kind of wish this stuff stayed in the game.
Yeah, no one's heard of it anymore. I think it would have been good content.
Yeah. All right. So this is where things get a little interesting because, remember, we're trying to figure out, like, why Infinity happened. Well, in 2011, and this was during MAGFest 9, I was actually running the arcade department, and I get this message on Facebook. And it's Macnom, and he says, "Eric, are you the Eric from Pro 2?" And I say, "Yes." And he says, "Okay, I am in the United States tomorrow. I would like to meet you." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And he said, "Will you meet me in Los Angeles?" I'm here. I am here in Maryland, just setting up the arcade. And I'm like, okay. So I left MAGFest 9, went to Los Angeles, Gardena, and he wanted to have a meeting with me and show me content they had crossed over into Fiesta EX, and their team had made new charts for this content, and you can find it under World Music. We both agreed that it was confusing and unnecessary for there to be a global release of Pump It Up and another that was specifically designed for the USA and European markets. So we said, no more of these are going to be produced. Focus was placed in the Fiesta series for global distribution. And we extended our support to Andamiro in any way possible. And any of us from the Pro 2 team that wanted to continue working as a passion on Pump It Up, we eventually became Team Infinity.
Macnom is the main producer for Pump It Up, for those who don't know.
Oh, yeah, we didn't go over that. Yeah, so
he's the leader of the M Project music team at Andamiro.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
So none of that answered why Infinity exists. In fact, it left us with more questions. And truthfully, guys, I don't know. I don't exactly know what in the hell happened. Macnom and I stayed in touch, and truthfully, like, we've always tried to support Pump and push it and make it something better than it was. But we talked about how I had this Banya remix project where we had friends of ours remixing classic Banya tunes. We had some step charts. We had this user interface. We had these cool mock-ups, and he was just like out of nowhere. He was like, "Okay, let's do it." I was like, "Wow, all right, great, we're doing it." So here's the fun stuff. These are our early UI mock-ups. So this was our title screen, and Dom designed this theme that never really made it, and you'll see why in the next slide.
So, yeah, no. And
It's very busy.
it's way too busy, but honestly, I think it looks gorgeous. It looks like a 2DX theme or something.
Yeah.
Like, you can see why this never made it into a consumer dance game for, like, an American audience, but I don't know, there's...
Most of the songs being You Got to Know, though, would be a little bit
No,
weird.
that's good. Over 200 songs. You got to know.
I would love a game. I would love an anything like that. It's like black and gold. It looks really classy. Like
I really like 2DX Gold.
It's very gold.
Yes. But yeah. So, and I think it's important to note that the initial idea of Infinity was to combine both the elements, interface-wise, of a Korean Pump It Up game and what the Pro series and In the Groove series offered. So the idea was you'd be able to choose two modes, one being classic arcade, which would throw you into a K-Pump style UI, and the other being Pro mode, which would throw you into, theoretically, this. That was a lot. Like, it was really hard to pull something like that off in Stepmania at the time, and we were asked to redo the user interface. So I pulled out a pen and paper. So this was, Dom and I believe, doodled this in Florida around 2010. And it doesn't look that different from what we actually released. So, I went over the concept of, so this is what the song menu is going to look like, and there was a song wheel in the center, and then when you would select a song, you'd have the little info panes drop out. People could select their difficulty, and then you could play. And this is what it wound up becoming in the final mock-ups. And this is, oh my gosh, talk about a development cycle. We scrapped an entire version of this game after we showed it publicly at, was it AMOA 2012? Yeah. So this was that user interface. So we do somewhere have a working build of this, but I believe that this photo is a mock-up. And, just like the mock-up, this is what would happen. It would spring out. And there's a photo of it working in Windows. And guys, I'm sorry about the private relay notification. I think we're just going to have to live with that. No, it's not a touch screen. We're going to let Greg break everything.
Where's your mouse?
I don't know.
I don't know how to Mac.
We'll need audio soon.
Oh, yeah, let's try this.
Not at the moment.
And you can see here, this is a newer build of the game where we have more modifiers available. And initially, I don't think Pro Mode was playable, so this was definitely like right up to the AMOA show. Oh gosh, okay. Greg, do you want to explain this?
This was like DOM how to install.
Yeah.
This was called like DOM how to.
Well, so some people needed a little bit of help imaging our test drive, so I made these instructions so Dom couldn't mess it up. Because if you do it wrong, you overwrite your hard drive. So I found this old screenshot of me helping Dom to be sure to select the correct drive. But yeah.
All right, so yeah, the biggest thing about Infinity's development was once we got greenlit, we got a date, a cutoff date. And it was like, okay, yeah, we're shipping on this day, regardless of what you guys have done. And I'm sure that all of you in this room have heard some kind of development hell history, but this project was so wonderful until we had a deadline. And once that happened, it was like, just like the room's on fire. Like, almost literally, it became a totally different animal. A lot of our planned ideas were scrapped. And the initial shipment of drives were running a pre-1.0 version that had tons of issues. Greg, do you remember any of those?
Yes. Developing a game is actually very difficult because it's not only, it's so.
Wait, hold on. Did you know that it's really easy to hack your Nintendo 3DS?
I thought you just clicked a button that said "Make AAA game."
So it's beyond the music. It's beyond the graphics. It's beyond getting it working and making the lights blink and stuff like that. But you have a whole nother layer that you need to think about when it comes to an arcade release, because it needs to be like, you need to have a service menu, you need to have options, service manuals, certifications in certain regions, and so there's a lot that goes into it. Music licensing, graphic design, all the normal game stuff, but then being able to polish the game. I mean, an arcade release can't really crash, or at least it shouldn't crash, because you're operating in a commercial environment most of the time. It has to be able to take coins and have all the options that you expect and all the settings and everything. So, you can make a game that has arrows and you press it, use Stepmania or whatever, but pivoting it and molding it into like a proper arcade release is actually very difficult and took a very long time. It's I feel like nowadays there are some things that are, in 2011 it was much more difficult. Yeah, and we released a lot of patches.
And we ironed out a lot of stuff. It was good. So the 1.10 update is where Infinity really shines. We all agreed that the initial ideas that we had and our vision, it just wasn't there. So at first, this patch was just going to add some polish, add some charts, maybe tweak some of the sync issues.
Higher resolution graphics.
Yeah, and then Andamira said, guys, this is your last patch. But they didn't give us like a requirement on when we needed it done by. So we kind of took advantage of that and essentially wound up making our own, let's call it an EX version. You know, like very
a lot
similar.
of things were rebuilt and redone and polished, and it's really like the release that we intended to release originally. Like a lot of our older ideas that we wanted to do that we were just couldn't because of resources or time, we were able to revisit that and actually finish it, like proper widescreen support, a lot of cool new songs, better graphics.
Yeah.
We changed a lot of things about the theme and just kind of gave it a good, like an EX release. Or
It has a new intro video. Like
it has a new intro video.
I would more or less say it's like enough content that it could justify being a mix. At
like
one
a
point in
separate
time.
release, but it was a free update.
And I do remember after we released it, MacNom saying, "Oh, I didn't expect you to do that."
Yeah, and also there are bugs in the final release, and we fixed them. It's just we're not allowed to release another patch to fix the bugs that we created with this big patch.
Whoops.
But they're small.
But yeah, and all of the licensing and internal development costs were funded by SavePoint, and a lot of people don't know that. I was never really public about it. I was very tired. I was burnt out, and But just I think it's important that everybody who's passionate about these games understands that we don't pocket this money. It goes right back into it. And I do remember my paycheck from Andamiro. I remember getting $1,000 at some point, and then taking that money and licensing Vertex Squared and a couple other songs from Kyle Ward with that money. So literally, the money was put back into the game. Hey, you. Hey, come here.
Yeah, let's go.
It's K Eternal!
Whoa! Want to know what I did today?
There's some glasses for you to put on. I can't believe they haven't been thrown out. They've been sitting in the back of the store for like 7 years. So this guy over here came in clutch, and when I was extremely burnt out, he took the lead as my assistant producer, and
Finished the game.
yeah, 100%.
Finished the game.
And he's got a mic over there. You want to tell the class a little bit about yourself?
Do I want to talk about what?
You!
You talk about me?
Yeah.
Okay. I still make games. We're showing one in the indie games section right now. Actually, right now. I left the booth to the other people working on it. It's called Noise Starlight, and there's a previous game called Noise. They are bullet hell rhythm games. But before that, as you can see, I was working on Infinity for its final patch and the smaller patch before it, actually, 1.09.
Close enough.
And I wrote about 1/3 of the charts in Neon FM, if anyone still remembers that. It was a fantastic game. That was a fantastic game and way ahead of its time, but I don't know how much we're talking about Neon here, but everybody should talk about Neon.
Yeah, we're starting to get short on time, and we want to play Kahoot with everybody, so we're going to try to get through the rest of this. Oh, boy. Okay. We're going to give you the bullet points.
All right.
We're going to go quick.
Yeah, so I got onto the team because an arcade operator in London who had a contact with Andamiro, this is back when Eric was looking for people to work on the game. An arcade operator in London, Toby, was like, oh, this guy's into that weird Stepmania stuff. And he just recommended me. So I got an interview with MacNom and Satinder at a trade show in London. And I basically got the job by just rambling about Lua for 30 minutes. And then, they just hired me on the spot. MacNom called me a very handsome young man.
I mean, he is. Come on.
I'm gonna be real with you. I had no idea what I was doing. At the time, I wasn't even fresh out of university. I was fresh in university. I was debugging during a trade show. It was live. We were watching a live stream, and I was fixing bugs during that trade show while I was supposed to be doing coursework. I taught myself C++ on the fly then and there. after I got hired.
It's great.
Yeah, and anyone else got some funny MacNom stories? Because that guy's a riot.
We have a couple. First of all, great guy, and honestly, everybody at Andamir USA and Andamir Korea, they're wonderful people. It's always a pleasure working with them. This year when we went to IAPA to support Pump Phoenix, I had some trouble checking in. So I had an exhibitor badge, and I'm trying to get it, and I'm at the registration booth, and I'm giving them my photo ID, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Mr. Holnicker, you need your replacement badge," and I say, "No, I just got here." And they kept me there for like 15 or 20 minutes, and there were two supervisors that had to talk to me, and the one guy gave me a dirty look and was like, "We're giving you one, but you can't get it reprinted." And I was like, "Dude, okay, I'm just trying to get inside." So I get downstairs, and I turn around, and hang on, I have a photo. Get out of here, you.
Oh, jeez.
Hold on. Get out of here, you.
Don't worry, everything is fine.
Come on, Eric, you can do it.
I can do it. Oh, it's on the desktop. My bad. Hold on.
Pick the right one.
All right. Hold on, view. Everything got tiny when we hooked it to the projector, guys. I just want to point that out. I am not technology illiterate. Where is he?
Just move the super.
You guys see that badge?
Ladies
So
and
that's Eric
gentlemen,
Holnicker.
Eric Holnicker.
The man himself. But it was just like, oh, damn it. Yeah.
I was also Eric Holnicker for a little while at that event because I also had Eric's badge.
No, hold on. Yeah, he's ruining your panel right now.
That's it.
You didn't see that? Okay, Vincent, tell your funny story about
Oh
MacNom from
my
IAPA.
God! So this was at IAPA. We were all just going out to eat dinner with MacNom, and he was gonna pay for everything anyway. It's just there was two tables, like Eric and MacNom and Greg, and they were all just in one table, and I was in a table with like everyone else. Like MacNom would just get up, just come to my table because like I can speak Korean and he's from Korea, and he just goes to our table first and just goes in English. You guys can order anything that you want, and he just comes up to me like right next to me, just like, hey, in Korean, like, hey, so like I don't really have much on me, so thanks for paying.
Yeah, and then at the end of dinner, everyone was thanking MacNom, and then MacNom said, "No, thank Vincent." All right, Alan, your go.
Yeah, and then so I don't know. So MacNom is a very interesting character. I had to write a converter to convert a lot of the pump charts to infinity. There were a bunch of charts that are made in a really strange way that really tripped up my converter. So Interference is a song that's 181 BPM. For whatever reason, the chart was at 72.4 BPM and stepped using 20th notes and 100th notes. So instead of like 16ths and 8ths like a normal music. And what ended up happening was the converter just broke. And I asked MacNom, like, why is it like this? And he responds to me just 72.4 times 10 divided by 4 is 181. And then he went offline. And like, that doesn't answer my question. Oh, man. And then, yeah, so for VVD27, the, like, vertex we ported back in, they'd finished the chart, and then they were like, we need you to Alanify this. And, like, most people wouldn't know what that meant, but I know what that meant. So it was 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and I started drinking and hammering out this chart. Like, the mods for this chart. I will still stand by that. The mods are not that bad. It's just on a chart that's a little radioactive.
Yeah, that's my bad.
And in any case, we also knew what we were asking for when we asked for it to be Alanified, just to be clear.
Yes.
And damn, they really let us make a Mawaru, huh? So, like, you can go to the next slide now.
Yeah.
So I am dressed as myself, as this.
You have to do the pose.
as the sprite I drew. So Mawaru is this crazy WarioWare thing that I do. I put in a lot of rhythm games where I take a bunch of songs that are in the game and make a WarioWare out of it and just completely change the game engine. Like, whenever I work on a game, I'm not using the engine. I'm fighting with it to make it do what I want. And yeah, no, I didn't, we were all burned out come 1.10, and if K-Turn hadn't, made the initial drawing of, a WarioWare-style ITG, Alex, a PAU?
It was
A TX cab.
Yeah.
If he hadn't made that drawing, I don't think I would have had the motivation to, put all that together, actually, not gonna lie. Yeah, you want the next thing?
Oh, here's a thing.
All right.
Oh,
Do we have the video?
I think we do in the next one.
Oh, but I don't have internet, so I can't show you the video. Internet went out. Darn. MAGFest staff Wi-Fi. This was an interesting video. If you guys have ever seen it, if you haven't, you're going to have to just go down to the arcade and play this. It's an Infinity original. It was a song that was supposed to be featured in the dance game Neon FM before it became a hand game. Very unique music video. The glasses are related. But we showed the video to Macnom, and his response was something to the effect of,
People like this?
people like this? Yes. Yes is what we said. So our mission zone, we're really running short on time and we really want to play Kahoot. But one in particular that we thought was really hilarious is, there's a song in Fiesta X called Jonathan's Dream, which the background video is a seagull flapping and the scenery changes in the back. Very cute, great song. We had the ability to use the full version of the song, so we made something called...
Click through the images.
Well, real quick, look at the description of this mission.
Yeah.
The worst show on television.
So your note skin is Bird. Bird is where he normally is. All right, then things get a little more intense.
Which ones are the notes?
The notes are flying up as birds. The receptors are birds, and each receptor is kind of floating around. It's pretty obnoxious. And that's what you wind up with. And in addition, it's funny with the video, but we've got birds that are being drawn just totally screwing with you. Vincent,
God
take it away.
damn it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had a lot of really interesting fans.
Oh yeah.
For some
Opinions
reason,
are divided of our game amongst the Pump It Up
This is
community.
quite a definition of interesting and quite a definition of fans.
Yes. So, Alan, would you like to give us a dramatic reading of this fan mail?
I don't think there's going to be time, but I will start with just, "Hi, Vincent. You don't know me, but we should talk." And
Yeah.
there's a lot of really, really great sentences in there,
Pump It Up Fiesta the 3.
Pump It Up
Yeah.
15,
The-
Fiesta, the 3.
Yeah.
"I will not play Vincent step chart content until until America team removed from trash Infinity game."
I'm just going to say, if your email or message to me does not start out with that starting line, "Hi, Vincent, you don't know me, we should talk," I'm not responding.
Okay. We're going to do this as quickly as possible, but the internet cut out.
Oh no.
Hold on. No, it says I'm online.
We have prizes.
We have prizes. Hold your breath. Oh, come on. Hold on.
Don't look.
Don't look.
Don't look.
Stop looking. Stop looking. Don't take pictures.
No.
Okay.
All right. Now get out of here. Okay. Start. No, that's fine. That's public. We're P.O. Box 420, Union Bridge, Maryland, if you want to send some lovely mail. Okay, we're doing it. How do I... What is full
Flash
screen?
mode, but is there pro mode?
How to Mac.
All right, guys, we're limited on time. 15 questions. Less than 10 minutes left. Holy crap.
Okay, who entered as me? I see Vincent.
You know we're also on.
I see play videos.
Yeah, I forgot we're live. That's extra embarrassing.
We could have people playing from home.
It's true.
Note that while we do have prizes, people that are not at this venue are not eligible for prizes.
Or I might mail them. I don't know. You'll get something.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to give it another 30 seconds, then we really got to book it.
Yeah, we got to book it.
We ready?
Kim Shin Vim.
Y'all.
All right, 5,
4, 3, 2, 1. Pump it up.
Pump it up.
Come on, we get it. True or false? Team Infinity was never given permission from Ann DeMiro to make Pump It Up Infinity. Is it gonna let me do it?
No, it's
time.
not.
Oh, times. I see.
People can see your mouse.
Oh, crap. Hold on. Great. Oh, I just see. Look, I gotta use the mouse. Don't gotta use the mouse. Nice. Very good.
Very nice name.
Yes. All right. Here's a good one. What was the original name for VV? Vortex 2? VV? Vertex squared? Or VetTech squared?
VetTech.
Vortex. Vicent squared.
Vicent with me.
What was that? Jason just informed me that he made those graphics live on my bedroom floor.
All right, you can hop over to next.
Very good. Very good. Which two Banya remixes were created for Infinity that were not crossed over into the main series?
They're starting to get a little harder now.
Yeah. Oh, you guys did good. Awesome.
All right.
I'm skipping through the results real quick because otherwise we're not going to have time for this. So with a special USB profile, the results screen announcer is replaced with me yelling an animal call. Who knows what animal this is?
Can you do the call?
I can't do
We
it
need to hear
now.
it.
I'll do it after this. My throat's a little dry. It might sound like extra terrible. Oh, I could drink this. Yeah. Oh. It's actually a peacock. Which Banya remix was created for Infinity, not but dropped from the game entirely before its release? This is a tough one. But if you were paying extra close attention to our mock-ups, you can put it together.
Yeah, no, it was actually in one of the screenshots that we showed in the mock-ups.
Yeah, good job, guys. That's awesome. Over how many songs were added into the 1.10 patch?
That's an easy one.
Technically, it was more than 10, I suppose.
God, we're going to have just enough time to do this.
At least one.
More than 0.
Correct. What was the original name for the project before we landed on Infinity? This is a weird one, and I forgot it.
Fiesta the 3.
The 3.
The 3.
Yeah, holy crap. Wow. What?
Wait, people got that right?
No, more
No.
people guessed.
One by one.
Eternity sounds really stupid. Pro 3, no way. Like, come on, guys. It was plus X.
Duh.
Team Infinity started to incorporate a zero mode that would throw players into a similar UI experience to 2007's Pump It Up Zero. True or false?
Give so much time to answer. True.
Yeah, for real. If we go over, I'm blaming Kahoot.
That was true, by the way.
Oh yes, that was true. It's really sad that got scrapped. So the horse right here. Does it have its own avatar in the game?
It might. I don't know.
Yeah. We don't know if that's a thing.
Is it not just called MAGFest?
It is. So we gave it away. If you didn't pick, all right. And here's a fun one. How many seagulls appear in Jonathan's Nightmare?
Yes, we counted.
We have the
One by
exact
one.
number.
We
Yeah.
slowed it down, guys.
I went through the code to find the exact number.
Yeah, sorry. Oh.
Oh.
1,424 is
No
the
one
correct
guessed
answer.
it. Come on, guys. The original Unlock Everything code was a reference to which game?
Candy Crush Saga.
All of these games are very related to Pump It Up Infinity. I'm just kidding.
Or we're big nerds.
If you think about it and know a little bit about each of those games, I think that the way I formatted the image kind of actually gives it away a little.
It was Crash. Despite the game costing almost twice as much as the Korean mix at the time, Infinity still managed to sell over 100 units.
True or false?
Money.
All right, looks like we got to wrap it up.
Oh yeah, we got.
Let's just check who's at the top now.
No, we got it. We're going a minute
we
over.
started 2 minutes late.
We did.
We started 2 minutes late. Okay. We got 2 more to go, actually. We're wrapping
All
up.
right. So how much was Infinity's? How much was in? Yes. Okay. So what was our budget? Was it $1,000, $10,000, $100,000, or definitely not the last one?
Money.
JK, no money.
No money.
No money.
That would have been more accurate.
Click.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey!
Wow,
Yep.
good job.
Yeah.
We made it off 10K initially before
Like-
Save Points funding.
Depending on who you're talking to, that is one song.
Yeah, it's true.
Come on, the answer's just right there. It has to be.
Has to be.
I think putting that image there was a really mean trick.
Surprise.
Yeah.
All right, guys,
right.
and finally,
Last
Final
question.
question. It's a poll. It's not a question, just a poll. Final question.
it's a poll.
Do you think we should get together and make another game? Would you play it?
Select, no, I'm good. I don't want to do work.
Whoa.
Oh,
Wow.
thank you.
64 fans, guys. We did it.
I think that's the most
All right.
we've ever had.
Who is DPS 2004?
He's not here.
Who is DJ50? Oh, I know who you are. And number 1 is Sheepy Cruz. All right. So it's not gonna. Is it okay? Who's Snow
Oh, Snow is not a teacher.
and Jag? Jag's here.
Jack's here. Yeah.
Come.
Yeah.
All right. No, do that after the panel. We have one more slide. Do that after. Do that after.
this. He gets this.
Okay.
He gets this. There's
Yeah.
a beta marquee. Okay.
Quickly, one more
And to
slide.
very, 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 very quickly wrap up, if I can escape full screen. Come on. All right. No.
Just
Here.
put it on the last slide.
There we go. If you liked this panel, come downstairs, come to the arcade, play these games. Come chat with us. That's going to be our Q&A session.
Yeah, we don't have time for that.
We're essentially an open book. We'd love to talk to you guys about the work we did, and we'd love to set the record straight on all the little weird stuff that we didn't have a chance to cover in this panel. That hour went by really freaking quick.
It went too fast.
Yeah, and all of us up here, we are working on or have worked on other projects, so support those games. I don't know if you can read the tiny text. Yeah, you can. That's big. And, lastly,
Thank you for attending.
thank you guys.
for attending.
Seriously.
Thank you.